Okay, so I've been trying to figure out Candy Machine Mint the entire day. Yeah. Um, I was backstory. I was checking out Metaplex because I'm trying to mint some NFTs, and in the community they were all talking about uh, Candy Machine Mint. So I thought I would ape into it and see what it is. So when going through it, I found the documentation uh, to be quite disorganized, which is totally expected. This project is very new and things are moving very fast. So the documentation is expected to be outdated. Yeah, so there were some community members that reached out trying to look for answers. So I thought maybe I should just record a video to help as many people as possible. Yeah, so if you are looking to try out Candy Machine Mint, what it does is just a very simple it has a very simple UI to mint NFTs. Yeah, I haven't fully figured out every how every parameter works, but I think I've kind of found out the common problems that people are facing today. Yeah, so let's dive into it. So in order to get this to work, the first thing that you have to install is the Solana command line toolkit. So to do that, click on this link, come here, follow the instructions. If you've installed it correctly, if you do Solana version, you should see a version number here. Right. So I've tried the stable version, that works for me. You can try other versions, but I do not know how that will work. Yeah. Then the next thing after installing Solana command line toolkit is to install the Metaplex command line utility. So I've opened it up already. Okay, it's here. Yeah. So I'll just leave you to read through the steps. But basically, what you have to do is you have to clone the Metaplex repository first. So if you follow the instructions here, it wouldn't work for you because this command is what the dev who documented it tried on in his command line, and his folder paths are all set up differently. All right, so if you're a dev, you could clone the repository by copying the URL here, and then just do a git clone, right? And then it will just clone in whichever path you are in. So I've done it. Okay, so I've done it here. All right, I have it here. And once you're done with that, you move on to the next part, which is to change into cd into the directory of where the JavaScript files are, install the node packages, and then build the files. So again, if you follow this line over here, it wouldn't work for you, may not work for you. So just to show you how to go in there manually, you cd into the Metaplex folder, and in the Metaplex folder there's a JS folder here, you can see it here. Right, so once you're in the JS folder, there will be a packages folder with an S, then cd CLI. Okay, so once you're in there, you can see all these files, and basically you run these 3 commands. This third command didn't work for me, but there was here. I tried this and it worked, so you may want to try that. Once you're done with that, you will need to make sure that Metaplex is properly installed into your command line. So run all these commands. If things are set up properly, you will run this, which Metaplex, you should see this. And if you run Metaplex help, right, it will give you all the different commands that you can run. Okay, so for Windows users, I'm not a Mac. I'm a Mac user. I'm not a Windows user, so really cannot help you guys there. Once you're done with the Metaplex and Solana command line tools, you want to set up the configuration for your Solana. So set which blockchain network you want to connect to. So for me, I tried the DevNet. So I configured things, config, okay, and you can see these are my configurations. And once you are done with setting up the config, you can then generate your blockchain wallet. So run this command to generate a new key pair. It will give you your public key as well as a seed phrase. The seed phrase can be used to recover your wallet in the event for whatever reasons you lose access, right? Lose your laptop. But if you have a seed phrase stored in a safe somewhere, you could take the seed phrase, regenerate the private key, and then set up your wallet on another machine. Okay, so once you have done that, set up your wallet, you want to fund your wallet with some SOL, right, in order to start developing. And once you have some SOL, you can start to upload, start to interact with your smart contract, which requires you to pay for transaction fees and so. But before that, you want to arrange your NFT images as well as metadata, which is in the JSON format in a folder. This assets folder can be anywhere on your computer, but for me, I've set it up in the Candy Machine repository under the assets folder here. So if you just look into the assets folder, so let's see the assets. Yeah, you can see there's one JSON file and one image file. Okay. All these commands are there to help you run tests to make sure that your the content inside your asset folders are expected. So I'm just going to skip through all of them. If everything's set up right, you have your files, your wallet has SOL in it, your command line tools are set up, then the next thing you want to do is to upload your files to Arweave. So Arweave is a technology that stores data on a blockchain. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I suspect it's similar to IPFS. I read a little bit about it, but it seems like data that's on there cannot be changed. So I guess the NFTs that you mint via this method will be immutable. Yeah. So maybe to make things easier for you at the start, you want to put metadata in a hosted service somewhere where you can change, right? So because for some of you, maybe your game mechanics hasn't been well thought through yet. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah, next we'll jump here. If you run this command didn't work for me. It just went through this like loop. So I had to like troubleshoot a little, and then I found the command that worked for me, which was this. Let me just find it. Okay, so basically what you have to do is you have to add this value at the back, right? What this means is at which index of the file, or how many files inside, not how many files, at which index of the file do you want to start with and where it ends. And because I only have one set of files in my folder, is 0 to 1. Yeah. Yeah, so you can see this one, I think this is old, because if we do this, yeah, you can see that it's no longer there. Yeah, so there's just -n, which is the number of images to upload, and the number of images is in line with your like for every image there will be a JSON also. Yeah, so I guess we can put -n1, right? So let's just try. I haven't tried this, work. Okay. Yeah, so let's try this. Let's try upload. Oh, before we upload, I want to delete this because I don't want the cache to be stale. Okay, see if it works. Okay, I think it's working. Let's wait a little bit more. Okay, it's done. So once it's done, you'll see under the cache folder, wherever you run this command, right, there'll be this, which is like, it stores like a interim state of the minting process, I think. And the two things to note here is this, because you need this value inside your environment variable later, which I'll show you, and this, right? So this is the data that you have uploaded onto Arweave. Yeah, so you can see this basically corresponds to my JSON. Okay, and once you're done with that, the next command you want to run is create candy machine assets. Yeah, basically I think this interacts with either interacts with another contract or sends another contract up there. Yeah, to make sure that there is no foul play between the uploading of NFT assets as well as the minting of NFT assets. You make sure that the whole process is in a way has an audit log, and things happen in an order that's dependent to each other, right? So just run this command, put in your key pair, the location to your private public key pair, and you can put a -p, which represents the price. -p is price, and for this we'll put 0. Okay. Yep. So anything that interacts with the blockchain takes a bit longer, I guess. Okay, so it's done, right? And it's generated this number, this hash. Is it a hash? I don't know. This public key. This public key, it's a little bit confusing. You need it later in your environment variable also, but in the documentation it's called, let me find it. In the documentation here, it's called machine ID, and I spoke to one community member on Metaplex, and he tried it on Mint, and he's lost a few SOL because he couldn't find his machine ID. So this is something you want to take note as well. Yeah. So once you're done, the next step for us is to verify, right, that your your candy machine and your assets are tied to each other, I think. Right, so we run verify with your key pair again. Okay, so once that's verified, we can then mint, but we do not want to run the mint command because we want to mint through the UI. So before we mint through the UI, we've got to set up the environment variables as per this documentation over here. And how we want to set it up is for machine ID. Sorry, not machine ID. Before that, let's set the start date as well. Yeah, I guess you could set the start date here inside the environment variables, but I am lazy to get a Unix timestamp, so I'll just set it through here. Right, so one thing to note, the date here is backdated, so that in the UI you don't get a grayed out button saying that you cannot mint because the drop hasn't started. Right, so I've put it to yesterday. Yeah, so let me just set the date. Okay, done. Right, so now we'll put in the environment variables. Open up the environment variables. These are old environment variables. I need to put in the new ones. So for first one, machine config, you get it from your cache here, right, which was generated when you ran the upload command. Just swap it out. Okay, next one, machine ID, you get it from here, which was generated when you created your candy machine. Okay, so this one, create candy machine, finish candy machine public key here. Okay, I'm going to leave the start date as it is. The React treasury address is a wallet public key on the Solana network. So it's where the SOL or whatever tokens that are minted on the Solana network will be sent to when they actually purchase the NFT. So for this particular one, I've put my my current wallet's public address, but it could be any treasury address that you want to use. So once you have changed that, you can then build the static files for the front end. Yeah, so long. Okay, done. And once the files are built, we can do npm run start, run the files, and once it's done, you can visit localhost 3000 to see the application running. Yeah, it was running there as well. Okay, yeah, so you can see this button, you can mint, right, approve the transaction, see the console. Okay, yeah, it's done. Right. Yeah. Hope this helps some people.